Please don't leave it there. Please don't leave it there. Oh, man. Please don't let this be it. Please. Season 4. I was really hoping for confirmation at the end of this season that we get a season 4, but for now, the waiting game begins. Unfortunately, the waiting game begins. Yes, it did have to be continued at the end of it, but literally 90+% of all anime say some sort of to be continued or something, just to kind of let people know that there could be more adaptation, but that you also have the source material you can go to. I really do hope that this gets another season. I want it so bad. But yeah, this finale, geez, it's kind of a connection to the previous episode. Like, this is all one real, like I said before, it's a turning point for Myne and her character, really, honestly. I mean, it's her being forced in this situation. The coolest thing came to my mind when I was watching episode 36. The thing that came to my mind was that this is essentially Myne experiencing the same isekai she did before. What was the thing that she left behind? She left her mom behind. And she left that one thing behind she could not say goodbye. Thankfully, this time, she's able to say goodbye, but she's once again being pulled from her family into another world. Yes, it's still the same physical world, but she is in now a new world. She has left the world of the commoners and the church, and she's now possibly still church, but now noble. She's now a noble. And that's just a huge change for Myne as a character. And yes, being ripped from one family into another. Just like before, ripped out of her previous family in our world into this world, into a new family. Now ripped once again into a noble family. It's heartbreaking. I was almost hoping that they would have expressed that in a way. And I feel like they didn't. I was really expecting it's happening again. I kind of expected it when she said goodbye to her new mother, Eva. Like, to go, I'm doing it again. Here again. Again, I'm leaving my mother behind. I'm leaving behind this nurturing mother. And again, I'm glad that she was able to say goodbye this time, but she's isekai'd once again into another world. It's really heartbreaking. It almost makes you feel like from now on, Myne's gonna have like serious trust issues going forward. Like, I am never going to connect to anybody ever again. It's super sad. And it really sucks, I think, in the idea that my mind immediately goes to how terrible Ferdinand and Sylvester is. Now, granted, they have no real choice here. They have no choice because essentially what happened with the High Priest, what happened with this Count Bindewald, was them almost losing Myne. Again, Ferdinand, yes, does care for Myne. He does take care of her. He has her best interest in mind, but he also has the best interest of the domain in mind. And Myne is a threat for it, if not a benefit. He said that. I'm going to use your power for the benefit of this nation, this domain. And if I see that you're going to be a threat, I'll end it. And he technically, they almost had that. Bindewald almost got away with her. If it weren't for the fact that he knew it was coming, he hid away and came out, they could have gotten away with it. They could have snatched her in town and left. But she thankfully got out of it. They could have easily captured Myne, and that would have been it. So their hand has been forced. And it was interesting, the willingness of them to really point out the fact that Sylvester, there was already plans for this. That's why he gave her the necklace, honestly, I think. There was already plans for this. And now they have to act. There's no more waiting 2 more years. Now is the time, because obviously we can't let this go on. You can't play this game of being commoner anymore. You can't play this game of being with this other family in the commoner section. No more. You're now, you're becoming a threat. Let's stop this, and let's bring you into a situation where you can be taken care of, protected, and protect the domain. Which is honestly what Myne wants. In the end, that's what she tells them. I'll protect everybody. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to protect everybody. But it's harsh to really think about the idea that technically Sylvester could have manipulated this whole situation. He could have come in the door and said, yeah, obviously, despite the fact that, yes, she is a commoner, you both started it. You brought this noble from another domain in here to give him resources, essentially. You made deals with an outside domain. Just get rid of him. Cover up everything. He could have easily, as the Lord, he could have easily covered up everything. But he specifically chose to cover it up in a way that it minimizes it. Like, oh yeah, she's my daughter. So what you did was a crime. Moving on. The only thing he's really manipulating is that she was his daughter. she technically wasn't. It wasn't until she made that pact that she was. And yet, technically, she made that pact before everything happened, but she herself wasn't technically doing it to become his daughter. She wasn't fulfilling a contract anyway. It was just something he set up. So he is manipulating the situation for his own gain. And that's the kind of sour... It's the sour thing. Like, you know this has to happen, but at the same time, it's kind of mean. Sylvester doing this it's kind of mean because he's being an opportunist. He's taking the advantage of the situation to finally take her under his wing and protect her, but also use her power. So it's not as if everybody's a good person. Even Ferdinand says it. Finally, I have a chance to get rid of this issue that I have. These people in front of me, I have the chance at this. He said that in last episode, and I forgot to mention it. Here's this thing in front of me. I have a chance to get rid of this now. This nuisance that's in front of me, which is the high priest. Let's get rid of him. So it's not as if everybody is just out to make Myne's life happy. They're out for their own gain and the domain's protection. And so yes, he's being an opportunist. He's taking over the situation and taking Myne away from her family, which sucks. But at the same time, do they really have a choice? They technically do. He could have got rid of High Priest, he could have got rid of Bindewald, and could have sent Myne back to her family, just covered everything up. But he chose specifically to use this opportunity to bring her under his wing. We're going to do it anyways, might as well do it now. We can't leave her out there. She's a constant threat, and this is a sign that this could end badly. It almost did. But yeah, it sucks to think it that way, but again, I think it's a good thing. I think this writer being willing to not let everybody just be characters for the sake of Myne is a good thing. It's a good thing to have characters not always do things that you agree with. It's good to have characters have a side of them that's sort of selfish and not necessarily for the 100% benefit of Myne. For them to have gone the route of, I'll just cover everything up, Myne, go back to your family, technically it would be too easy. And honestly, wouldn't be to the character that we're looking at here. Sylvester, yes, he's the lord of this area, but he's not Myne's puppet. He has the domain in mind with every decision he makes. And yes, while he kind of bends here and there, he technically bent when it came to Delia. Myne goes up and says, please spare Delia. He's like, if she did something wrong, she needs to be punished, though. But he still allows her, okay, well, as the daughter of the Lord, I'll let you decide her punishment. You still need to decide a punishment. But he's bending a little bit for her. Okay, well, your punishment is to go back to the orphanage. I like that. I like that fact that she does technically get a punishment, but she gets a benefit at the same time. She's able to weigh that quickly. Okay, I get to stay with Dirk. We don't get killed, but I have to go back to the orphanage. Which, again, technically, we've already softened that blow a little bit by her going there when Dirk was there, and her seeing how clean the location was, but it was still a punishment. It's still her taking a step back from becoming the concubine she wishes to be so much, and having to go back to where she was before. She's taking a step back, but she gets something in return, which is Dirk. Yes, I guess I should address it. I guess I should address the fact that, yeah, I probably should have seen Sylvester coming. I should have seen that coming. I assumed he was something really important. It just seemed like it. The fact that Ferdinand responded to the pennant as much as he did, yes, it could mean that he was just maybe a high noble, but to be the Lord is kind of a little different. And again, I should have seen that coming based on their interactions before. When Sylvester comes in and says, Myne, make a pig noise for me. What did Ferdinand do? Just humor him, please. Just go along with it. If he was anybody else, he'd be like, stop that. Like, he would slap his hand. Well, granted, he did stand up and smack him over the head, but that, I think, was his brotherness coming in. Like, that was himself as a brother coming out. And I think it was a surefire sign. The fact that he was so willing to say, Myne, just go along with it. And he never, told Sylvester not to do anything. He never commanded Sylvester. It was a sign that what would be possibly above Ferdinand? The Lord. That's the only thing you can really think of. Yeah, there's probably a couple other people that are above him, but yeah, that's pretty obvious. And I think in the back of my head, I've had the thought that he would end up being the Lord in there, but I guess it took me a while. I guess it's because Sylvester wasn't really around much. He wasn't around for very long. He just came in and disappeared really, really quickly. It is a little bit surprising to me that unless nobody else knew, the way that people were interacting with Sylvester seemed a little weird. I mean, why, when he came in with everybody else, why wouldn't everybody bow for him? Ferdinand didn't bow for him. Nobody responded in a way that he was the Lord before. And so that makes me believe that he was undercover and nobody knew it was him. Or it's just purposely deceiving the viewer by not showing people respond properly, just for the sake of this big reveal later. Which I hope it's just a case that nobody really knew. Because, I mean, how often does everybody see the Lord? We don't know that right now. We don't know how secretive they are, how often he really goes into public. He could just be up in his chambers all the time and never really comes out to do stuff. He's got a lot of responsibilities. It was interesting to learn why, I guess, Ferdinand's in the position he is. Apparently, his mother was a different mother than Sylvester's. So, as we find out, Uncle High Priest will put it, this whore of a mother, this other person that was the mother of Ferdinand, which would explain why he was in the position that he was. He wasn't in the position that Sylvester was as a lord. But yeah, the whole adoption scene was heartbreaking. Everybody comes in and they basically lay it out to everybody what's going on. Tootie's like super upset because she's seen how damaged father was and was called to come there. She thought the worst. But yeah, just going through each one of them really hurt. I'm going to, despite the whole contract that they have to do is that they can no longer see her as family. Now, I honestly thought the contract was going to be magical in a way that it would alter their minds, but it ended up just being a contract in general, and they were respecting it. Because the moment they went to leave, it just seemed so casual, and it hurt, because I'm like, wait, so does everybody forget? Like, does this contract alter their minds to where they legit don't see her as family anymore? And then later on, as we see the father come in and say, I heard from one of the gate people something that Myne did, and they're all excited, and they want to hear about what happened with Myne. It was super cute. But yeah, they go through each one of them, to saying that I'm going to make clothes for you later, can't wait for it. Talking about the mother, how that she, cares for her to do. Mother, lays out all the motherly stuff. You take care of yourself, you get sick easy, take it easy. All these nurturing things. Each one of them has their different thing. Tootie is a crafter, and she knew that she loved doing this with Myne, so she talks about crafting. The mother is obviously nurturing, so all she thinks about is Myne's physical health. And then the father, all he thinks about is wishing that he had that one day that she would want to be, his bride. That the idea that the father wishes for their daughter to seek out that guy that's just like them. And then, yes, technically having this little conundrum about he always wanted to be a protector of them. He's a father. He wants to be a protector. But then she says in return, no, I'm doing this so that I can protect everybody. And it's almost as if he's defeated. It gives that sense that he's defeated. No, she'll protect them. And it kind of hurts in that regard. It was interesting to see that she is still going to be able to remain with the Gilbert Company. I really did think that was going to be something that she was going to have to give up. And this is where it gets kind of really mean in a sense, because again, this isn't all sunshine and rainbows. So when they kind of start talking about this whole situation, yes, they considered that they were going to have to get rid of Myne's family. He says that one resolve was to just get rid of her entire family, wipe them off the face of the earth. But then he decided, because he didn't want Myne to go crazy, and she definitely would, that because he didn't want her to go crazy, that she would instead have them all sign a contract so that they could still see each other. They would just never be able to see each other as family ever again. And that Myne herself would essentially be removed. She would be, they would announce that she was dead. And that would be a way for most everybody to think that she's no longer there. And that she would take on the name of Rosamine. Which I, by the way, seen as a spoiler already. I was looking through I was trying to find out where the anime had gotten to in the novels, and I was looking through a bunch of descriptions on sell sites, and I ended up reading one that says, Myne has taken on the name of Rosamine. I didn't know what the context of it was, but I was like, crap, gotta get away from this. So I knew that she would become Rosamine. But yeah, she would take on that name. She would still be able to see them, but not seen as family. She would still be able to do work with Benno. And they also said again right there, they were gonna close down the Gilberto Company. They were gonna just completely erase the existence of Myne, because they can't have people know that the Lord has adopted a commoner. So that's the whole idea of her being a child of Karch's, third wife that passed away and then adopted into the Lord's family. They want everybody to see her as a noble, not as a commoner. Which to me doesn't make much sense. Like, going through this much effort to make sure nobody knows who her real identity is, yet everybody knows her real identity. Like, there's nobody that doesn't know that this is Myne. If they ever seen her, unless they like completely change her appearance in the coming episodes, which they showed a little brief shot of her traveling with Ferdinand, and she looked normal, just with a different outfit, but it's the worst kept secret, I guess. Like, everybody knows it's Myne. It is puzzling. Like, everybody in the church knows, everybody in the commoners areas knows who she is. Most of the guilds know who she is. It does seem odd. But yeah, everything wraps up with pretty much laying out what it looks like going forward. Again, technically her family is looking forward to any piece of information they can get about what she's doing. Gilberto Company still going on. They seem like they're going to be the cornerstone of the books that she's going to be doing. And yeah, Ferdinand lays it out to Myne that your job is to spread out this new printing industry throughout the domain. Now, this is the curious thing, because we were really discussing this a few episodes ago when Ferdinand first questioned Myne about what she's doing with the printing, that what she's doing affects everybody, and also questioned, what did it change in your world when everybody learned to read? Yes, it gave the public more knowledge, and they were able to find out what was going on in the politics and rise up. And so it did seem like at that time he didn't want Myne to do anything. He's like, just chill. We don't need you to do anything right now. And at that time it was to wait for 2 years until she was a noble. Well, now that she's a noble, they can start it now. What is Ferdinand's... I'm curious what Ferdinand's mindset is with this whole change in the industry. Like, what is his end game with Myne pushing forward this change in the printing industry? Obviously, it's going to make books more readily available. Does he seek for the commoners to have this knowledge? Does Ferdinand himself seek change? He's definitely hinted on it here and there. Ferdinand, again, he's similar when he was talking about a high priest and Vindewald. I have a chance to get rid of an obstacle, which was, again, the high priest. He obviously sees there's issues in how this domain's run, but he doesn't want to destroy it outright and build from the bottom up. He does want to change things, and I think he sees at least Myne's change in the printing industry as a way of making change. Again, is it through really giving people knowledge? And I think that's going to be a cornerstone for what's to come. Obviously, she's probably going to be learning how to get into the world of the nobles. Obviously, she's going to have to get settled in as her new role as the daughter of the Lord. Noble life. Obviously, her being a little bit upset about having to have left her family behind. But I think it's going to be a lot to do with what this printing means for this domain. And will it be a good thing? Obviously, if she can increase the knowledge of the domain itself and spread knowledge through literature, you could see advancements. Like, technology and everything could see advancements because everybody will be learned. And they can learn and then thus create new things. Book knowledge is a great thing. Knowledge in general is a great thing. And early stages of that was through books. They didn't have internet. They didn't have TV. They didn't have radio. Books were the only way. And spoken word. So it is going to change a lot of things, and I think that's something that Ferdinand wants. So I think that's it. I think that was the finale. Overall, fantastic season. Really did change a lot of things. Now, granted, I think a majority of this season was really them acknowledging what Myne has been doing, and then really getting into other domains, really dipping their fingers into the domain and really shaking things up. And again, I'm really excited to see where this is going from here. I love this writing so much. I love this writer. She's fantastic, and I just cannot wait for more. Hopefully we get another season announcement. Like I said before, once I finish my read-through of Mushoku Tensei, I might jump straight into Ascendance of Bookworm. I'm not sure if I'll go from there to Grimgar or Spice and Wolf first, but I might go to Ascendance of Bookworm because I need more. This show is so fantastic, and I am going to miss it. But I hope you guys enjoyed my weekly impressions. I thank you all for joining me on a weekly basis for this show. I've loved how much feedback this has gotten. I think me and Chris's efforts to really push people to watch this show has gotten a lot of people to join us, and I love it. But now you all can join us in the waiting game for the next season, and it's going to hurt. I hope it doesn't take too long. Obviously, this book is doing very well, and you can probably credit to the adaptation doing so well that it is boosting the sales of the novel itself. So there's a hope that that means that that will continue the adaptation going forward, because obviously the book's still going. So, but we'll see. I'm going to always keep my expectations low, and then I'll be super happy when it gets announced. That's how I work. But I hope you all enjoyed. I thank you all for joining me through this. I hope you guys stick around. I hope you guys will subscribe if you have not already. Stick around as we get into the next season and all the great shows that are coming up next, as well as all the reviews and finales for this current season. But yeah, if you guys want to, I definitely would appreciate if you consider supporting us through Patreon or through our tips link in the description below. We also have a super thanks button down there where you can support us directly through YouTube. We definitely appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.